coming to meet Leonato and his daughter Hero and niece Beatrice. They're coming home from war and they come to stay at their house and have a good time. So here are the characters. Don Pedro, he's very happy and he's in charge of all these guys in their little troop of army men. And this is Don John, his brother, who's very angry and doesn't want anyone to be happy. And this is Claudio, who's in love with Hero. And this is Benedict, who doesn't want to get married ever, but eventually marries Beatrice anyways. So what happens is they all come together at Leonato's house and they decide to have a costume ball. So they have a costume ball, at which Don Pedro helps Claudio woo Hero by dressing up as Claudio. So he's wooing on Claudio's behalf, and that goes nicely at the costume ball, even though his brother, Don John, tries to ruin it. It doesn't work. And so here is Don John whispering to Claudio, "Hey, Don Pedro is actually wooing for his own benefit, not for yours, Claudio." And so he's like, "Oh no," for a second. But then and also, while this is going on, Benedict and Beatrice are dancing, and she says to his face, "Benedict is dumb." But he has a mask on, so they don't really know they're talking to each other. So he's all angry about that. But even though Don John does this business with Claudio and lies to him, it turns out well after the costume ball, and Leonato says, "Good match for Hero and Claudio." And then after all that works out well, Don Pedro says, "Hey, let's get Beatrice and Benedict to fall in love with each other, even though they both say they will never ever get married." So he starts a plot to make that happen. Meanwhile, Don John decides to start a plot that ruins Claudio and Hero's love by saying that Hero is actually unchaste. And so those two plots are happening by the two brothers. And so the first plot, it starts to work and they fall in love after they hear rumors that the other one loves the other one. And so they eventually meet and confess their love and exchange love notes and stuff like that lovers do. And then the day proceeds, or the week proceeds, and it comes to the wedding of Claudio and Hero. And at this point, John's plan to besmirch her name is working very well, and Claudio thinks that Hero is unchaste and unfaithful to him. So it's all very sad. So he decides he's going to expose her publicly at the wedding, which is very sad, and she faints, and Leonato is sad, and Beatrice is sad, and these guys are sad, except he's kind of happy. So that's all very sad. But fortunately, the friar decides to fix this messy business by pretending that Hero is dead in hopes that the truth will come out once she's gone, because she thinks that because the friar thinks that Hero is innocent, and everyone is mad at each other, and Benedict tries to challenge Claudio for accusing Hero, and all this bad business goes on, ruining everyone's relationships, and until Dogberry, the constable, shows up. And while all that business was going on, his men were questioning Don John's little minions. And they find out the whole story of his evil scheme to ruin Claudio and Hero's love. And so he shows up, and he's kind of a goofball. That's why I drew him as a clown. He shows up and tells Leonato that Don John is, in fact, a bad guy. And so once that whole business is out in the open, also the plot to get these two together, Benedict and Beatrice, also comes out in the open, and for a second they're like, "What? What's the deal with this?" and say, "I'm not going to get married, we'll just be friends." But then they eventually are convinced that they should get married, and so they do get married, and these two do get married, and so there's a happy wedding and dance while Beatrice and Benedict get married, and Hero and Claudio get married. And that is the end.
Well done.